Elior walked carefully through the crowded streets of Zephora's Grand Market. The air was thick with scents of strange spices, blooming alien flowers, and sizzling food from countless stalls. Everywhere he looked, creatures of every shape and size hustled and bargained. Some had 4 arms, some floated, and others had shimmering, translucent skin that glowed under the twin suns. It was a marketplace unlike anything Elior had ever seen, and he loved every second of it. He had come here seeking rare artifacts, unusual companions, or simply inspiration for his next adventure. Zephora was known across the galaxy for its exotic auctions where merchants from countless worlds brought treasures, trinkets, and sometimes even unusual companions. Today, Elior had heard of one auction that promised something extraordinary. The building that held the auction looked ancient, though its walls pulsed faintly with a soft light. Elior stepped inside, and immediately the room's energy hit him. Holographic banners floated in the air displaying strange symbols and pictures. Creatures milled around, examining their options. And at the center of the room on a raised platform were several unusual beings waiting to be introduced to potential buyers. Elior frowned slightly at the word buyers, but the auctioneer's voice quickly made his purpose clear. This was not an auction of slaves or captives. No, these beings were sentient, intelligent, and free to refuse anyone who tried to buy them. Instead, this auction offered a form of companionship for friendship, exploration, or mutual learning. That made Elior smile. He had no interest in owning someone, but he did enjoy the idea of meeting beings from other worlds who could teach him new ways to see the universe. The auctioneer clapped his hands, and the room quieted. Welcome, travelers of the stars. Today, we present beings of curiosity, wisdom, and talent. Each one may join a worthy companion on adventures across the galaxy. Choose wisely. Several beings were brought forward. One was a creature with feathers like stained glass, singing notes that shimmered in the air. Another was a small, glowing blob that changed colors with its mood. Elior admired each of them, but none caught his attention like the last figure on the platform. She was sitting calmly, a small smile on her face. Her skin was smooth and pale, with a faint lavender hue. Her ears were delicate, curved like leaves, and her hair, silver and silky, framed her face like a soft halo. Most striking of all, her eyes were closed. Elior felt a strange pull in his chest. Something about her presence was different, gentle, confident, and yet curious, as if she could sense the whole world without opening her eyes. The auctioneer began to speak, and now the final participant. She is Princess Lyra of the planet Valaris. Though blind from birth, she has traveled through countless worlds, learning and experiencing more than most can imagine. She is intelligent, cheerful, and ready for new adventures. Who wishes to bid? A few hands went up, tentative and cautious. Elior hesitated. He had never seen a being so calm, so happy. Despite what most would see as a limitation, something inside him whispered, "She is not waiting for someone to rescue her. She is waiting for someone to share the adventure." Elior raised his hand, not to own her, but to offer companionship. He knew he would never treat her as property. If she refused, he would respect her choice, but he could not walk away without at least trying. The auctioneer's gaze swept over the room and paused on Elior. "A human bids? Very well. Do you wish to introduce yourself to the princess first?" Elior nodded. Carefully, he stepped forward. Lyra's head tilted slightly toward him, though her eyes remained closed. She spoke softly, her voice clear and musical. "Hello," she said. "I sense someone new. You are human, yes? I can feel your curiosity, and your heart." Elior's jaw nearly dropped. She had spoken as if she knew him already. He smiled, nervously. "Yes, I'm Elior. I travel the galaxy seeking new things, and it seems new friends." Lyra's smile widened. "Friends are the best discoveries. I like surprises. I hope you have one for me." Elior blinked. "Surprises?" I think I can manage that. The auctioneer cleared his throat and the other bidders shifted uncomfortably. Clearly, no one expected a blind princess to be so confident, so joyful. Most would have assumed she was fragile or timid. But Lyra exuded a calm power, a sense of wonder that was infectious. Elior took a deep breath. I wish to bid for Lyra, not to own her, but to journey with her, to learn from her, and perhaps share a little of the universe with her as well. The auctioneer raised an eyebrow. A noble intent. Lyra, do you accept this bid? Lyra chuckled, a sound like wind chimes. I do. I have been waiting for someone who seeks to share, not control. Let's see where the stars take us, Elior. A wave of excitement passed through Elior. He had not expected this. He had thought the auction would be strange, maybe even awkward. But here was someone extraordinary, who had already chosen trust over caution. Thank you, Lyra, Elior said softly. I promise. This will be a journey worth remembering. Lyra tilted her head as if listening to. The stars stretched endlessly outside the spaceship's wide viewing panel. Elior sat in the pilot's seat, hands lightly resting on the controls, while Lyra, the blind alien princess, stood beside him. Her long silver-blue hair floated slightly in the low gravity of the cabin, and her delicate fingers traced the edges of the console as if mapping the ship with touch. I can feel the hum, she said softly. The vibrations, they are like music. Elior smiled. That's the engine. Most pilots ignore it, but you notice every little thing. He adjusted a dial. I didn't expect you to be so aware. Lyra laughed. The sound was musical, like wind chimes caught in a gentle breeze. You humans rely too much on sight. I don't need eyes to explore, I just feel. Elior had never met anyone like her. She was a princess, yet she treated the vast universe with the curiosity of a child. Her blindness did not make her timid or dependent. It made her careful, attentive, and, strangely, more aware than most he had met. Okay, Elior said, flipping switches to adjust the ship's course. We're heading toward the nebula of shimmering clouds. You'll feel it differently than I do. I hope you're ready. Lyra tilted her head, excitement humming in her tone. I've never been in a nebula. Will it sing for me? Something like that, Elior replied, suppressing a grin. Hold on. The ship moved forward, leaving the calm darkness of open space behind. Soon a gentle vibration began beneath their feet and in the walls of the cabin. It was subtle at first, a slow thrum like a heartbeat, then growing stronger as they approached the swirling colors of the nebula. Lyra raised her hand, fingers spread, as if she could touch the invisible waves. I feel movement, she said. It's soft but strong, flowing, like a river made of air and light. Elior was amazed. He had flown through many nebulae, but he had never thought about how someone without sight would perceive it. For him, it was a visual spectacle, clouds of glowing gas, sparkling particles, and shifting light. For Lyra, it was a symphony of vibrations, pressure changes, and scents carried on space winds. You're describing it as music, Elior said quietly. I am, she said. Every change, every pulse, every vibration is a note. Your stars are playing a song I can feel. Elior looked at her and felt a strange warmth in his chest. He had bought her thinking it would be a kind gesture, a new companion for the long journey, but she had already changed the way he experienced the universe. For hours, he guided the ship carefully, letting Lyra sense the subtle shifts in the nebula. She taught him to slow down when the vibrations grew stronger and to tilt the ship slightly when she felt a disturbance ahead. Her instinct, based on feeling alone, saved them from colliding with an unseen cluster of magnetic particles that would have damaged the ship. You're amazing, Elior admitted. Most pilots would have crashed by now. Lyra's laughter filled the cabin. I'm not amazing, I just listen. You humans see everything, but you rarely feel it. Elior shook his head. I've always thought seeing was everything. You'll learn, she said. If you open your senses, you'll see more than any eyes could ever show you. The nebula eventually gave way to open space, leaving a trail of glowing particles that sparkled like scattered diamonds. Lyra touched the air around her and let her fingers trace the invisible waves left behind by the nebula's currents. She was silent for a moment, then whispered, I want to make a map. Not of stars, but of what I feel. Every vibration, every scent, every sound. Elior was impressed. You could chart the galaxy your way. Yes, she said with determination. A map that no one else can make. A map of experiences, not just coordinates. The thought fascinated him. Humans had maps and charts, but they were all about sight. Lyra's map would be something entirely new. A record of the universe through touch, smell, sound, and vibration. As the ship sailed through a quiet stretch of space, Elior decided it was time to teach her some human ways of understanding the world. He handed her a small tablet with braille markings. Here, he said, you can learn to read human writing, not for sight, but for touch. Lyra ran her fingers over the tiny bumps, smiling. You think humans only use sight for knowledge? I will show you that touch can tell stories too. Elior laughed. All right, teacher. Let's see what I can learn from you. Days passed, and the human and princess settled into a routine aboard the ship. Elior described distant planets, alien cities, and cosmic phenomena using stories and comparisons. He would say things like, the red sun is like the warmth of honey on your skin, or, the rings around that planet feel like a gentle brush of wind. Lyra listened carefully, her fingers tracing the air or the tablet as she imagined his words. She often responded with insights he had never considered. You describe light as warmth, she said one evening. But light is more than warmth. It vibrates through space, touching everything in its path. You just don't feel it yet. You're right, Elior admitted. I see it, but I don't feel it. You will, she said. Once you notice vibrations, once you let the universe speak to you in ways beyond sight, you will understand, more than you ever imagined. One night, as the ship drifted past a distant star cluster, Lyra placed her hand on Elior's shoulder. Listen, she said. Can you feel it? He closed his eyes, focusing. Slowly, he became aware of the gentle pulse in the ship, the subtle shift of gravitational waves, the tiny hum of the star cluster in the distance. It was faint, almost imperceptible, but he could feel it. I can feel it, he whispered. Lyra smiled, her fingers brushing his. You are learning. Good. Their days were filled with exploration, teaching, and laughter. Elior introduced Lyra to holographic simulations of alien landscapes, letting her feel the surfaces with her hands. She delighted in every new sensation. Soft, sands, rough stones, trickling water, and even simulated wind brushing her face. You humans underestimate the power of touch, she said one day. It tells stories that eyes cannot see, that ears cannot hear. Everything has a texture, a vibration, a heartbeat. Elior nodded. And you are the best teacher I could ever have. As they approached a quiet planetary system, Lyra's curiosity only grew. Where are we going next? She asked, her voice full of excitement. Phalora, Elior said. A world filled with sound, scents, and colors. Even if you can't see them, you will feel them in ways you never imagined. Lyra clapped her hands together. I can't wait. I want to touch every leaf, smell every flower, and hear the wind sing its song. Elior laughed, feeling a sense of joy he had never known. Traveling with Lyra was no longer about simple companionship. It was about discovering the universe together, in ways neither of them had imagined. As the ship glided silently through the stars, Elior looked at Lyra and realized something profound. She had changed the way he perceived everything. The galaxy was no longer just a collection of sights and coordinates. It was alive with vibrations, textures, and feelings he had never noticed before. Lyra placed her hand on the console, feeling the hum of the engines. Do you feel it too? She asked. Yes, Elior replied, a smile spreading across his face. And I never want to stop feeling it. The stars outside seemed to twinkle in agreement, as if the universe itself had joined in their silent celebration. The spaceship descended slowly through Phaelora's thick, fragrant atmosphere. Elior guided the controls with practiced hands, while Lyra stood near the observation panel, her senses alive with anticipation. Though she could not see, she could feel the gentle vibrations of the planet beneath them and the subtle shift of the air currents as they moved closer to the surface. I can feel the forest, Lyra said softly. Her fingers reached out, brushing against the walls as if tracing invisible threads. It hums, like something alive, breathing. Elior smiled. You're right. Phaelora is alive in ways most visitors never notice. The winds carry music. The plants vibrate with life, and even the soil has its own rhythm. Lyra's excitement was infectious. She had been thrilled by the stars and nebulae, but this planet promised a new adventure, one she could explore fully through touch, smell, and sound. The ship touched down on a soft, mossy clearing. The air was thick with scents, sweet flowers, earthy soil, and something faintly metallic like distant rain. Lyra's fingers twitched in delight as she felt the vibrations beneath her feet. Step carefully, Elior said. The ground is soft, but some of the plants react if touched too roughly. Lyra lowered herself slowly, letting her hands glide over the moss. It's perfect, she murmured. It feels like walking on a cloud made of silk and whispers. Elior laughed. You really have a way with words. They began to explore. Every step brought new sensations. Trees with bark that pulsed gently under their touch, leaves that hummed when rubbed, and flowers that released tiny bursts of fragrance in response to movement. Lyra ran her hands over everything, smiling and laughing as if she had discovered magic itself. You humans rely so much on your eyes, she said. You miss so much. These plants, the air, the vibrations they speak, I can hear them all. Elior nodded. And you can feel things I never thought to notice. He reached down, letting his fingers brush the bark of a tree. He closed his eyes, trying to sense the subtle vibrations Lyra was so attuned to. Slowly he began to feel it, the gentle pulse of life moving through the plants, the rhythm of the earth beneath them, the soft songs of the wind. It's incredible, he admitted. I never knew the world could speak like this. Lyra smiled, brushing her hand against his arm. It always has. You just needed to learn how to listen. They wandered deeper into the forest, encountering small Phaeloran creatures. They were delicate butterfly-like beings with wings that made soft chimes when they moved. Lyra reached out, letting one land on her palm. She giggled as the creature's wings vibrated against her skin, creating a melody only she could fully appreciate. These creatures, they sing through touch, she whispered. It's beautiful. Elior watched, amazed at her joy. He had never seen anyone so fully engaged with the universe. Lyra did not need sight to explore. She had created her own way of experiencing the world, one richer than anything he had known. As they continued, they reached a small river with water that flowed over smooth stones, creating tiny ripples that sent vibrations through the ground. Lyra knelt, letting her fingers trail through the water. It's like feeling music with my hands, she said. Each ripple is a note, each current a melody. Elior knelt beside her, dipping his hand into the river. He could feel the cold rush, the tiny bubbles, and the smooth stones beneath. You're right, he said. It is music, I can feel it. Lyra laughed, her joy pure and infectious. I want to explore everything, she said. I want to touch every leaf, feel every stone, and hear every song this planet has to offer. Elior realized that for Lyra, every step was an adventure. Every sensation was a discovery. Her blindness was not a limitation. It was a doorway to a deeper understanding of the world around her. They wandered until they reached a clearing filled with strange, glowing plants. Though Lyra could not see the colors, she could feel the vibrations of the light pulses through the air. She held her hands out, letting the soft energy wash over her. "It's like standing inside a heartbeat," she whispered. "It feels alive, like the planet itself is breathing around me." Elior stood beside her, feeling the subtle warmth and vibrations as well. "You make me see it in a way I never could before," he admitted. "Through your senses, I understand it differently." "It's beautiful," Lyra smiled, leaning slightly against his shoulder. "We humans often rely too much on what we see, but there is so much more to the universe. You just need to listen, touch, and feel." As they continued exploring, they came across a group of Phaeloran children. The small beings were curious, their delicate wings creating soft chimes as they approached. They giggled at Lyra, fascinated by her ability to navigate the forest with such grace. Lyra knelt down, holding out her hands. "Hello," she said warmly. "Do you want to play?" The children nodded eagerly, and soon they were engaged in a game of sound and touch. The children created patterns by tapping stones and leaves, producing vibrations that Lyra could feel. She responded with her own movements, creating a symphony of touch and sound that delighted everyone. Elior watched, smiling. Lyra was not only exploring the world, she was teaching it. The children laughed, fascinated by her ability to sense things they could not even imagine. "You are amazing," Elior said quietly. Lyra looked at him, her eyes closed but her face shining with happiness. "I am just listening," she replied. "The world has so much to teach us if we pay attention." As the day drew to a close, they sat by the river, listening to the soft music of the water and the hum of the forest. Lyra traced patterns in the sand with her fingers, describing the shapes and rhythms she felt. "I want to make a map of this planet," she said. "Not a map of cities or roads, but a map of experiences. Every vibration, every scent, every sound, I want to record it all." Elior nodded. "That would be incredible. You could show others a world they could never experience otherwise," right? Smiled. "And maybe one day I will show you the entire galaxy this way. You will understand it not just with your eyes, but with your senses, your heart, and your mind." Elior felt a deep sense of gratitude. He had bought her thinking he was giving her a gift. But in reality, she had given him something far greater, a new way of seeing the universe. As night fell on Phaelora, the forest hummed softly around them. Lyra lay back on the moss, feeling the vibrations of the ground and the gentle pulse of the river nearby. "I could stay here forever," she whispered. "It's like the planet is singing to me." Elior lay beside her, letting the quiet of the forest settle over him. "And I could stay here forever with you," he said. "I never knew the universe could feel this alive." Lyra reached out and touched his hand, feeling the warmth and steady pulse beneath her fingers. "It is alive," she said softly. "And now, we are a part of it." The stars above Phaelora were hidden by the thick canopy, but Elior did not need to see them to know they were there. Lyra could feel the vibrations of the distant constellations through the planet itself, and through her, he could sense the universe, in a way that went beyond sight. For the first time, Elior understood that exploration was not just about seeing new worlds. It was about experiencing them, fully and deeply, with all the senses. And with Lyra by his side, every planet, every star, every river and forest was a new adventure waiting to be felt. They stayed on Phaelora for several days, learning, playing, and exploring. Elior taught Lyra about human tools and technology, while she taught him to listen, to feel, and to notice the subtle rhythms of the universe. Their friendship grew stronger with every shared experience. By the time they left the planet, Lyra had created a preliminary sensory map of Phaelora. She described it in meticulous detail, the vibrations of the soil, the hum of the trees, the melody of the water, and even the subtle songs of the Phaeloran creatures. Elior recorded it all, fascinated by the depth of her perception. "You've made me see the world in ways I never imagined," he said. Lyra smiled, taking his hand. "And you've helped me explore it. Together we can discover the entire galaxy, one sensation at a time, As their ship lifted off, leaving Phalora behind, Lyra closed her eyes and stretched her hands toward the stars. "I wonder what surprises await us next," she said softly. Elior smiled, adjusting the ship's course. "Whatever it is, we'll feel it together." The spaceship hummed softly as it glided toward the bright lights of the Lumina Festival, a grand celebration that drew beings from every corner of the galaxy. The festival was famous for its music, art, and inventions. Aliens of all shapes, sizes, and colors filled the streets of the host planet, their laughter and chatter blending into a symphony of excitement. Elior adjusted the ship's controls and glanced at Lyra, who stood near the observation panel, her hands hovering as she felt the vibrations of the planet below. "Do you feel it?" she asked. "The energy of the city. It's like a heartbeat, and we are part of it." "Yes," Elior said. "And I have a feeling this festival is going to be full of surprises. Are you ready?" Lyra laughed, a sound like wind chimes in the breeze. "I was born ready." The ship landed near the central plaza, where the air vibrated with music and mechanical rhythms. Holographic lights danced above, creating shapes and colors that swirled in the sky. Lyra could not see them, but she could sense the energy, the movement, and the pulse of the crowd. Every vibration told a story, every hum hinted at laughter or excitement. Elior led her through the crowd. Small beings zipped past them, leaving trails of scent and energy that Lyra could detect. Street performers played instruments that created vibrations in the ground, and Lyra's face lit up in delight as she reached out her hands to feel each note. This is amazing," she exclaimed. "I can feel the music through the air, through the ground, through everyone around me." Elior smiled. "I knew you'd like it." The festival is all about experiences, not just appearances. They passed stalls filled with strange gadgets, exotic foods, and small creatures that made unusual sounds when touched. Lyra explored everything with curiosity, laughing as she discovered new sensations at every turn. She felt the soft fur of a tiny alien pet, the vibrating pulse of a musical device, and the warm scent of sweet treats. As they wandered, they were approached by a group of skeptical aliens. They looked at Lyra with disbelief. "A human and a blind alien princess," one said. "Why would she travel with you? Surely this is strange." Lyra smiled, unfazed. "Strange is not always bad," she said gently. "I explore the universe in my own way, and he helps me. That is all you need to know." Elior nodded, proud. "We are friends. That's what matters." The skeptical aliens watched, still doubtful, but Lyra's joyful energy was contagious. Soon other festival goers gathered to see her, drawn by the way she moved gracefully through the crowds, sensing everything with perfect awareness. One of the festival organizers approached them. "Would you like to participate in the festival's grand showcase?" they asked. "It's a chance to demonstrate your talent and creativity." Lyra tilted her head, considering. "Talent. I can show the world how to feel, to sense, to experience beyond sight. I would like that." Elior grinned. "Then let's do it. Together." They were led to the main stage, a platform surrounded by glowing panels and sound emitters. Lyra placed her hands on the panels, letting her fingers sense the vibrations of the entire stage. She could feel the energy of the crowd, the pulse of the music, and the subtle shifts in the environment. Elior joined her, operating the controls to amplify the sounds and vibrations she directed. Slowly, Lyra began to create a performance unlike anything the festival had seen. Using vibrations, rhythm, and subtle movement, she painted the air with sensations that the crowd could feel. Some aliens held their hands to the ground to feel the pulses. Others let the vibrations wash over them. "It's incredible," one alien whispered. "She is showing us the universe in a way we never imagined." Lyra smiled, her hands moving, with grace. "The universe is full of wonders," she said. "You just need to feel them." Elior guided the ship's portable sound emitters, creating harmonies that complemented Lyra's movements. Together, they produced a symphony of touch, and vibration that resonated through the plaza. Every member of the audience could sense the story, the emotions, and the energy of the performance. The skeptical aliens from earlier watched in awe, finally understanding. Lyra's blindness did not limit her, it enhanced her. She could experience the universe in ways others could not, and she had shared that gift with everyone present. As the performance ended, the crowd erupted in applause. Lyra laughed, a sound like chimes in the wind, and Elior clapped beside her. The festival-goers cheered, inspired by the unique demonstration of friendship, creativity, and human-alien cooperation. "You see," Lyra said softly, "we don't need to be the same to understand each other. We just need to share and experience together." Elior nodded. "You've taught me that, more than anything." After the performance, they were invited to explore the festival's other attractions. Lyra delighted in every new sensation, walking across a field of soft, vibrating tiles, feeling the patterns of wind-generated music, and tasting foods that changed flavor depending on how they were handled. "Everywhere I go, the universe surprises me," she said. "I want to remember all of this, so I can create maps, stories, and experiences for others." Elior smiled. "And I want to explore it all with you." As the festival night grew late, they found a quiet spot overlooking the glowing city. Lyra sat beside Elior, her fingers tracing the vibrations in the ground, the hum of the distant music, and the gentle movement of the crowd below. "I never thought the universe could feel so alive," she said. "And now I want to explore even more." "You will," Elior said softly. "And together, we can show others that the universe is full of surprises if they just open their senses." Lyra reached out and held his hand. "I feel the world, and I feel you. That makes everything even better." Elior squeezed her hand, feeling the warmth of her touch and the steady pulse beneath it. "And I feel the universe in ways I never imagined thanks to you." As they watched the festival lights shimmer across the plaza, they knew their journey was far from over. The galaxy was full of wonders, waiting to be explored, felt, and shared. With each new experience, their bond grew stronger, and their understanding of the universe deepened. Lyra leaned against Elior, listening to the vibrations of the city and the distant stars beyond. "What's next?" she asked. Elior smiled, adjusting the ship's controls. "Who knows, but I promise it will be another adventure full of surprises." The spaceship floated silently through the endless stars, carrying Elior and Lyra toward a distant, unexplored system. The hum of the engines was familiar and comforting, a rhythm that Lyra had come to recognize as part of her new home among the stars. Though she could not see the galaxies ahead, she could feel the vibrations of distant suns, the gentle pull of planets, and the subtle dance of cosmic winds. "I can feel the stars tonight," she said softly, her hand resting on the console. "They're like tiny whispers calling out to us." Elior smiled. "You always make the universe sound magical." Lyra laughed. "It is magical. You just needed to learn how to feel it." For days they traveled together, exploring new planets, strange asteroid fields, and quiet nebulae. Each place was a story waiting to be felt, and Lyra experienced everything fully, with her hands, her ears, her nose, and her heart. She recorded her experiences in a small portable device, creating a sensory map of every new world they visited. One morning, as they approached a small, serene planet covered in soft mist, Lyra perched near the observation panel, sensing the subtle vibrations of the landscape below. "This world is quiet," she said, "but I can feel the life beneath the surface. It's gentle, like it's sleeping." Elior guided the ship down, landing on a field of soft, glowing moss. The air was cool and fragrant, carrying the faint scent of minerals and fresh water. Lyra stepped out, letting her hands glide over the moss, feeling the tiny pulses of life beneath her fingers. "It's wonderful," she whispered. "Even without sight, I can feel everything. The ground, the air, even the distant hills, they all speak to me." Elior knelt beside her, brushing his hand across the moss. "You've taught me how to notice things I would never have seen. The universe feels alive when you pay attention." Lyra smiled, touching his hand. "And we can share it. Together we can explore not just planets but the entire galaxy, one experience at a time." As they explored the planet, they discovered small creatures that communicated through vibrations and scent. Lyra laughed with delight as she felt the subtle pulses of their messages, responding in kind. Elior joined her, learning to interpret the creature's signals through her guidance. Together they created a small symphony of vibrations, forming a new language of touch and movement. "You humans rely so much on sight," Lyra said, as they rested by a crystal-clear stream. "But touch, sound, and scent. They can tell stories that eyes cannot see." Elior nodded, feeling the gentle hum of the water beneath his fingers. "And you've shown me how to listen to those stories." Days passed and their journey continued. Lyra's sensory maps grew more detailed, capturing the essence of each world they visited. She recorded the vibrations of rivers, the patterns of winds, the rhythms of forests, and the subtle songs of alien creatures. Elior helped her document everything, marveling at the depth of her perception. One evening, as they floated near a ringed planet, Lyra reached out to the console, sensing the faint vibrations of the planet's rings. "I can feel their movement," she whispered. "It's like a river of stone and ice, flowing silently through space." Elior watched her in awe. "You can feel things I couldn't even imagine." Lyra smiled. "And you've helped me explore more than I ever could alone. Together, we understand the universe in ways others might never know." Their next destination was a quiet moon with gentle rolling hills and soft whispering winds. Lyra walked across the landscape, feeling the vibrations of the soil, the movement of the grass, and the subtle heartbeat of the planet beneath her. Elior followed closely, learning to interpret the sensations she described. "This world is peaceful," Lyra said, closing her eyes as she felt the gentle rhythm of the moon. "It reminds me that the universe is not only full of wonders but also calm moments to listen and reflect." Elior nodded. "And you've shown me how to appreciate them fully." As the days turned into weeks, Lyra completed her most ambitious sensory map yet, a record of the galaxy through touch, sound, and scent. She described planets in terms of vibrations, nebulae in terms of their gentle hums, and stars in terms of warmth and energy. Each map was a story, a journey through the universe experienced in a way no one else could perceive. One night, as they rested on the deck of the spaceship, Lyra reached out and held Elior's hand. "The universe is beautiful," she said softly. "And now I can feel it with you." Elior squeezed her hand, feeling the warmth and steady pulse beneath her fingers. "And I can feel it with you," he replied. "Every star, every planet, every vibration. It's more alive than I ever imagined." They drifted in silence for a while, letting the quiet hum of the ship and the soft vibrations of nearby stars fill the cabin. Lyra rested her head against Elior's shoulder, feeling the gentle rhythm of his heartbeat. "I wonder what new wonders await us," she whispered. "Whatever they are, we'll discover them together," Elior said, smiling. As they traveled, they encountered new alien species who were fascinated by Lyra's abilities. She shared her knowledge freely, teaching others to sense the universe in ways beyond sight. Elior watched proudly as she inspired beings across the galaxy, showing that understanding and friendship could bridge even the greatest differences. One day, as they approached a vibrant planet with floating islands and singing waterfalls, Lyra turned to Elior. "I want to create a place where everyone can experience the universe like I do," she said. "A place for touch, sound, and vibration, where beings of all kinds can explore without relying on sight alone." "That's a wonderful idea," Elior said, "and I'll help you build it." They spent weeks designing the sanctuary, planning spaces where the ground vibrated with music, the air carried scents and melodies, and the walls responded to touch. Lyra tested every feature, laughing as she discovered new ways to experience her surroundings. Elior learned from her, adjusting designs to enhance the experience for everyone. Finally, the sanctuary was ready. Visitors arrived from across the Galaxy, curious about Lyra's unique approach to experiencing the universe. They marveled at the immersive environments, learning to feel vibrations, interpret scents, and follow subtle rhythms. Lyra guided them patiently, her joy and laughter filling the space. Ilior watched, proud and amazed. Lyra had transformed the way beings perceived the universe. Her blindness was not a limitation. It was a gift that allowed her to share a deeper understanding of the cosmos. As the first visitors left, Lyra turned to Ilior. "We've done something wonderful," she said softly. "We've shown that exploration is not just about seeing. It's about experiencing, feeling, and sharing." Ilior nodded. "And it's just the beginning. There's still so much to discover." Lyra smiled, her fingers brushing his. "Then, let's continue. There are stars to feel, planets to touch, and melodies to hear across the galaxy." And so, the human and the blind alien princess continued their journey. Together, they explored the farthest reaches of space, mapping the universe through touch, sound, and scent. Every planet was a new adventure, every star a new story, and every vibration a melody waiting to be felt. Through their travels, they discovered that the universe was not only vast and beautiful, but also full of surprises that could be experienced in countless ways. Lyra's unique perspective inspired others to look beyond sight, to open their senses, and to appreciate the galaxy in ways they had never imagined. Ilior realized that he had learned the greatest lesson of all. Humanity's true strength lay not in what they could see or conquer, but in their ability to understand, to share, and to connect. Through kindness, curiosity, and empathy, humans could inspire and uplift beings across the stars. As their spaceship sailed into a new star system, Lyra rested her hand on Ilior's shoulder, feeling the vibrations of distant planets and the gentle hum of the ship. "Where to next?" she asked. Ilior smiled, adjusting the controls. "Somewhere new, somewhere no one has felt before." Lyra closed her eyes, smiling as she sensed the universe around them. "Then let's go. There are more stories to experience, more music to feel, and more wonders to share.